Here we go. Michigan International Speedway and the final regular season race for the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series. Drama from IRP and drama again in last night's practice race could resurface tonight in one of the most crucial races for anyone in the league. Whether you're in or out, there's a big statement win lying ahead, and you'll have to race tooth and nail for it. Welcome to Pit Stop TV in the virtual Brooklyn, Michigan. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV with Zach Murtis alongside, and it's a pleasure to join you for coverage of the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series. Tonight's coverage from Michigan is brought to you by the Buttkicker, Ascendance Trucking, Ideal Lease, Sundance Pizza, and by Whiplash Sim Cams. And Zach, what a day this is going to be. Michigan International Speedway, 2 miles in length, decently high banks, and plenty of racing to go around. This place is fun.
Yeah, Michigan is one of the best racetracks on the schedule. Well, it's not my personal favorite, but hey, it's also one of the greatest tracks on the schedule. And, you know, it offers a really unique complex for these drivers. It's similar to Auto Club Speedway. It was built after Auto Club Speedway. Or actually, no, it was built before Auto Club Speedway. Auto Club was built afterwards. In any case, Auto Club Speedway was based off of Michigan International Speedway, so they were similar in that sense. Obviously, we don't have Auto Club Speedway anymore, but we still have Michigan. Produces some great racing, multi-group racetrack for a super speedway type facility, and it's the unique complex that I was talking about is it's a drafting track, but you don't necessarily have to be in the draft to be famous. There are guys that can catch up to a drafting group with just their own car by sheer speed alone. And if these guys are tuned up the way I think they are, they're going to be able to do something along those lines.
I want to mention we are seeing some stuttering through the live stream. If you could let us know if the audio sounds okay, that would be appreciated. We're looking into it actively. Hadn't noticed it until right about now. So we're looking into it and seeing if there's something we can do about it. So please stand by actually for a brief hold as we look into it quickly. It is something we're monitoring and going to try and fix here before we get too far into it. So please do hold briefly and we'll be right back. Well, I welcome us back, I suppose, to the broadcast. This is a little bit strange for us, but hopefully the audio holds. We are experiencing some technical difficulties on the network side, and it's not apparent as to what the issue is. We will continue on with tonight's broadcast as per usual. I am recording the broadcast and will upload it if need be. But for now, we will move on as we can and hope for the best. So we'll record this and hope that things just go right and hope that things get better. Otherwise, we can upload this at a later point in time. So, Zach, let's talk about point standings going into this evening. It's a little bit of a different picture than what we expected, I think, going out of IRP last week. Richard Wolsifer, 7 points in. Scott Fritz, 7 points out.
Yeah, no, this is going to be one heck of a race for those two, just to be able to see who's going to take that final spot. I think Scott Fritz has really been showing up and showing out recently. And, you know, we think back to last week at IRP with Richard Wolsifer and the bad day that he had. I mean, that man could not catch a break, Andrew. He ended up getting DQ'd, I believe, for hitting the incident limit that they have for this league. Race Control had to disqualify him for, what was it, 2 incidents in a row that he was the direct cause of. They were very lenient on the self-spins, though, so thankfully there. But that really opened the door for Scott Fritz. And then you have Dakota Camper, who's got that 1 win. He's still in jeopardy as well. I think those 3 drivers are the ones to watch tonight, but the 2 main ones are going to be Wolsifer and Fritz.
So 75 and 48 cars, not 75 and 48. 75 is on pole right now. That changes, but 56 and 48 cars. Richard Wolsifer and Scott Fritz. We'll keep an eye on each of them. Dakota Camper also in jeopardy tonight, only 23 points above, could drop out. Evan Patinko could move in. But they are each longer shots, and even Zachary King is still alive at this point in time. I would argue that Zachary Brandvold may not be, Carl Pooler may not be, but we'll have to wait and see exactly what happens. And even Brendan Maddox, Jared Hughes, Matthew Catania, they are not safe right now. They've got to stay up on their A game tonight. They have, if somebody were to go out there and get 10 stage points in each of the stages, Zach, they could end up with about a 20-point gap thereabouts to the cut line, depending on how things play out. So to say, you know, if they get no stage points, they could be in trouble. If they get stage points, I think they'll be okay, and we'll kind of monitor things from there. But we don't expect any kind of massive issues like that. I'm going to knock on wood, because once you say that, you know, of course, anything can't happen. But that's a look at the point standings in tonight's Duck Coat 200 at the Michigan International Speedway. Sorry, 250 rather. Duck Coat 250. As this is a 125 lap race. Let's take a look at qualifying, as cars have mostly turned their laps already. There's a look at Dakota Camper in the 3 car. He's got a win recently. Matthew Catania in the 18 comes into the pit lane here. And let's see who's on the racetrack still. Matthew Selby's on the racetrack, turning some extra laps. Zachary King is on his 2nd lap. And this is a driver we could have to watch this evening, Zach. It's not a drafting track, but draft is so important here. This could play into his wheelhouse.
Yeah. These guys can operate this track as if it's not a drafting track, but it is in a way. You know, you can be fast here by yourself, but you can be fast in the draft as well. If you have the single car speed down and keep yourself open and available for the opportunity that maybe a caution could come out as well, you know, there's a lot of potential that can happen here.
Here's what's going to be one of the fan favorite paint schemes of the evening, a Michigan State Spartan scheme. Or is it State of Michigan? I don't follow college sports. I don't know if it's State of Michigan or University of Michigan or Michigan State or Michigan University. I have no clue. Honestly, that's one thing I never got into. So we'll find out. And in all of this, thank you, Zach. In all of this craziness, with the network drop and everything, thank you, Zach. Yes, we still had B-roll on screen. That happens on occasion when you fluster the broadcast producer and throw everything at him all at once. Well, what do you expect? Anyways, that was a look at the Michigan State or State of Michigan, or I don't know. It's college sports. It's beyond me, but one of the Michigan-themed paint schemes in the field this evening. We'll take a look at one other here in a few. But let's take a look at the series schedule before we go down to the grid. This is Michigan race 13 of 18 this season. And Zach, this is a crucial point. No matter the circumstance or situation for whoever is in this race, this is a race you've got to go out there and try and win. This sets momentum going into the playoffs. This sets momentum going into the chase. And if you're Mason Houseman or Eric Jensen or Matthew Selby or Cody Dorsey or Patrick Hernandez or Nicholas Renner or Carl Pooler. It doesn't matter who you are. You want to win this race. This sets momentum for the end of the season.
It does. And I think you can really... You can look at this from a different perspective as well, Andrew. Looking at it from the guys who are locked in tonight, because we do have a number of drivers that are mathematically locked in tonight, whether it be from wins or just overall points. They can kind of treat this race more in the sense of pregame. Kind of like the NFL. You know, you go out for preseason games and you go out for preseason practice, and you're out there to treat it as you want to win, but you don't necessarily have to. You're just here to gauge the competition overall, and treat it in the sense of I'm going for my season now. This 5-race stretch for their chase. I'm just going to take it easy, and I'm going to learn.
Let's take a look at this evening's starting grid, brought to you by Lucky Performance. Johnny Wood Jr. on pole, Dakota Camper from second spot. What a solid qualifying run for that 3-car. Watch out for driver number 3. Could he go 2 wins on this regular season? That would be impressive. Starting third, Mason Houseman in the 78 car. Coulter Clark looks quick tonight, starting from 4th position. Starting 5th is Matthew Catania. 6th, Isaiah Sutherland. Back in the 7th position, you'll find none other than Braxton Skinner. 8th place is Richard Wolfsfer, one of those 2 drivers we're watching. He's battling, of course, Scott Fritz, who is starting a little bit further down the order. Gray Walker starts from 9th, and Jared Hughes starts from 10th.
A little bit further outside the top 10, you'll find Patrick Hernandez and Brendan Banks. Those are 2 drivers that are just trying to hang on for their seasons. And then you've got in the 13th and the 14th starting positions directly behind those 2. Oh, excuse me. I seem to have something in my throat tonight. Matthew Selby and Scott Fritz in that 13th and 14th spot. Nicholas Renner and Dustin Stallings directly behind them. Stallings 2 wins on the season. He's looking for number 3. Zachary Maddox and Carl Pooler, 17th and 18th. And then in your 10th row on the grid tonight, you'll find Zachary King and Cody Dorsey.
Starting from 21st, it's Josh C. Anderson alongside Stephen Borbell. Back in row 12, it's Eric Jensen and Sam Dyer. Row 13, Adam Buzzio and Evan Patinko. And in your 14th row, it's Robert Moyer Jr. and Dakota Bly. And finally, at the back of the field, Jason Bottoms. Let's take a look at the Whiplash SimCam's race details. This is a 125-lap race with 30-lap stages 1 and 2, 5 change sets, 80% fuel, 6 setups, and no fast repair available. 3 green-white checkers are available, however. We plan to use them if we need to this evening. Into the Geico restart zone we will go to get this race started this evening. The Duck Coat 250 from Michigan International Speedway is underway. Dakota Camper loose off of turn 2, just hangs on to the race car. Mason Houseman jumps into that second spot. Matthew Catania's got a run on the 3 car, and they're 3 abreast into turn number 3 on lap 1.
Isaiah Sutherland in the middle spot. We're going to get 4 right here.
Crash!
All right in hard.
Carl Pooler and more.
It's a big, big hit to that outside wall. Carl Pooler's day is more than likely going to be done. You see Sam Dyer right there. He's stopped on the top line. There's no fender on that right front. He's got to be done for the day.
Carl Pooler's got to be thinking, man, what's it going to take? What's it going to take to just have a day go right? Doesn't matter what he does, that Limitless Esports 71 has problems.
Well, Andrew, you know what they say about drivers having bad days. If we didn't have any bad luck, we wouldn't have any luck at all. Carl had a rough day in the race car last week at IRP. See him roll on the top side. Slots in right behind Scott Fritz. One driver that doesn't get involved in this. Thank God for him, because he wants to have a good day as well. Well into 3 here, Andrew. Oh, he just gets tapped by Cody Dorsey.
He hung on to it for a long time, and then Dorsey got him again, and that really kicked that off. You see Stephen Borbell go sliding into it.
Josh Anderson down on the bottom, too.
Yep. See, how does Borbell get into this? He gets in from behind. Watch this for Stephen Borbell. Is it Zachary King that gets him, or is it Josh Anderson? I think it's Josh Anderson that gets him. They all checked up
right
big,
there.
and you know what? Dorsey got him. Dorsey got the 71 on corner entry, but didn't get him the second time. It was just Carl Pooler trying to battle the race car through the corner, and it came back around on him. Let's watch this from the onboard. Inside the race car. Gets hit there, drifts, hangs on to it. It's overcorrected.
It's the big thing in these race cars, Andrew, with this racket pinion steering. You know, when you crank that wheel to the right, a lot of drivers have described it as, you know, there's no feeling. It's like all of that response that you're getting from the front tires is just gone. It feels light. And it makes it difficult when you don't have that feeling or that sense of grip in the front end of the race car because you don't know where it's going to go. Right on board here with Josh Anderson, the Meatball Motorsport 07. There's the stack, there's the contact. That's a solid save right there, and I think I have a nomination for Lucky Motorsports Lucky Performance Lucky Break of the Day. Who was that on the inside of who was on the inside of Anderson that passed by him right there?
We could take a look back and find out for sure. We'll watch from the tower here and get a whole overview of things. There you see on the right side of your screen the Michigan Wolverines, number 99 of Eric Jensen. Josh Anderson just ran right in the back of the 2 and then gets tipped by the 99 of Jensen. Goes for a slide and wow. Dustin Stallings, the other Michigan car.
I'm calling it for my nomination for Lucky Break of the Day.
That was close for sure. Down the back stretch, these guys are ready to go racing. Zach, is there a driver you have your eye on this evening?
It's a bit of a cliche, but I'm gonna go with Scott Fritz. He's on the outside looking in. He's got a great shot right now to stay in front of Richard Wolsifer. Wolsifer's up running inside the top 10, though. So you see Scott Fritz. There's Richard Wolsifer, fourth in line on the bottom. 3 cars behind him is Scott Fritz. He's got to finish at least 8 positions or 7 positions in front of that 56.
Let's see what we can do this evening. Back into the restart zone. Green flag on the way. Let's get this Duck Coat 250 started off properly. Green flag back in the air. Down the backstretch, 2 by 2 we go. Sutherland jumps in behind his teammate Camper, and everybody clamors for that outside lane.
The thing about Michigan here, the outside line is really, really powerful, especially if you have the draft up there. You see a lot of them coming tough on the outside line. I remember back when we had the Icon Cup Series here, as they're 4 wide on the front straightaway. Coulter Clark below the white line. Oh, here we go.
That's Matthew Catania in the outside wall in the 18 car. Problems for the 18. 2 restarts in a row. The initial start and now the first restart of the night. And we're seeing 2 drivers out of this race quickly. Watch this, Matthew Catania down the front stretch, 4 wide they were. 4 wide they stayed all the way to turn 1. Contact with Wolsifer. Watch it back a couple more times. Braxton Skinner on the outside, Wolsifer and Catania in the middle, Clark down low. Catania just couldn't hang on to it once they made contact. There you see him 4 wide across the racetrack. Skinner up top. Wolsifer comes up and makes contact with Catania. This will likely come back on Wolsifer and send him to the rear.
Four wide never really seems to be going well tonight. Here for race control, they are going to give the penalty to the 56 of Richard Wolsifer, so that is going to be incident number 1 on the night. He does not need a second, Andrew. That could derail his entire season.
And this is nothing intentional by any means. He's just riding around and tries to move up the racetrack and get a run into the corner. Might not have known they were 4 wide or where he was in that 4 wide. But he will go to the rear of the field, it sounds like. Or, well, no, it'll be a pass-through, right?
Yes, first one's a pass-through, and then second one is a disqualification. So he'll have to serve that on the restart. And one thing I didn't actually catch at the start of the race was Dustin Stallings got sent to the rear on the start of the race.
Dustin Stallings sent to the rear. Well, he's right next to the other Michigan car right now, I can tell you that much. I can't tell you why he would have been sent to the rear. But here is Maverick Motorsports number 0. Been a slow start to the Duck Coat 250, but I tell you what, this has been a wild night. On and off the racetrack, in and out of the broadcast. Just trying to get the broadcast going this evening, having problems there. And of course, we mentioned in the YouTube chat, we talked about it earlier, there is the knowledge of the stuttering we're having this evening. Unfortunately, right now it's beyond our control. So we are recording this race as a backup and plan to upload it if needed. So if you're joining the chat for the first time, and it sounds like Dustin Stallings had equipment issues. So YouTube chat is helping us out there. Revan is letting us know there as well that he was sent to the rear as a result of some internet issues. So he's not the only one. We're not the only one. We can at least, we can bond over that, Dustin. We're each having some connection issues this evening. Not sure what the problem is. Audio seems to be getting through okay. And if you check the YouTube chat, there is a pinned comment now. I recommend you check it. That's just the way it goes sometimes, Zach.
It is. Now these guys are all doubled up, ready to get back on rolling. You see Wolsifer still up there. He won't be up there for long. He's going to have to take that pass through once the green flag comes out.
We'll roll around and come back to the Geico restart zone. There goes the iRacing.com pace car. Back to the relative safety of pit lane. And so here we go. Geico restart zone part 3 this evening. Green flag back in the air at Michigan. Down the backstretch, Mason Houseman on the inside of Dakota Camper. Gotta watch these two. This could be a really fun race. And here comes Gray Walker off the top side. Top rope move, trying to go for it. Gets squeezed out of line. He will stay now behind the 3 car of Camper. Lap complete, and there goes Wolfsburg to the pit lane.
Down and take his pass through. You see purple laps all throughout the field going up at the top of the screen. 3 wide, Mason Houseman, Isaiah Sutherland, Braxton Skinner. Houseman's going to come up. He's not clear. Oh, man, that could have been bad.
Luckily got the message just in time that Sutherland was still on his outside. Skinner follows through. Skinner now going to run the high side of the racetrack. He'll make it 3 wide up there. Patrick Hernandez right behind. Houseman didn't get the message there. Got the message off of turn 2, but did not get the message out of turn 4. As Camper goes fastest. Now Zachary Maddox goes faster. Patrick Hernandez in the middle of Mason Houseman and Coulter Clark. And Houseman is getting swallowed up by this field for one of the first times all season.
He's just going upwards real fast. He was fastest in practice, so he's definitely got that single car speed. But the draft is the big thing right now. Johnny Wood Jr. still out in front. You see Camper down to the bottom. He's going to hang on over Greg Walker. You see them snaking on the front straightaway. Single file all throughout the top 5.
Not for long. Here comes Coulter Clark on the inside of Isaiah Sutherland. Works the inside lane to get up alongside of that 24 car. You can get aggressive with these lines, and I feel like you'll see that a lot this evening. Guys making moves on the inside lane, but just going nowhere because that line stalls out in the middle of the corner and loses speed. They say that. Here goes Dakota Camper on the inside, right by Johnny Wood Jr. Johnny Wood Jr. with a run back.
On the inside, Camper. Not going to be able to make that move. Wood's clear. Hangs on to it. You see them still fighting it out behind. Look at Gray Walker. Down to the inside, going for second. Still side by side, up off the corner. Now he's going to have that draft on that inside line. But Patrick Hernandez is going to pull in front, get clear for third. Sutherland now up on the top side.
Here comes Coulter Clark on the outside lane. He gets a big run and goes right by Mason Houseman, rather, in the mirror of Isaiah Sutherland. That all happens quickly. Gray Walker now going backwards on the inside lane. Coulter Clark gets to the outside of the 25 car, and Coulter just squeezes right on by. I mean, there is just no room for the moves these guys are making, but they're making them stick. Whoa, that's not going to work. Coulter Clark checks down the racetrack into Isaiah Sutherland and just about right reared that 24 car.
It's a great save by Sutherland.
That is so far my lucky performance, lucky break of the day. That could have been terrible. That could have been the field.
Oh my goodness. They're scaring me, Andrew. They're scaring me.
Oh my gosh. These guys are absolutely crazy. Watching them through the entire field, this is just absolute insanity right now for these guys. There is so much to be had, so much to be lost. And here goes Dakota Camper back to the race lead on the inside of Johnny Wood Jr. Johnny Wood Jr. gets right on his right rear through turn 1. Here comes Patrick Hernandez on the outside of Johnny Wood Jr. And Hernandez gets there. That allows the 3 to take the race lead proper. Hernandez pushes the 3 of Camper. And here comes Mason Houseman on the outside.
The way things change around all too quickly is rapidly unfolding as you see Carl Pooler right up the road. He is in jeopardy of going further laps down. He's already 9 laps down, looking to make it 10 here as the field comes up. Camper's trying to catch a draft. Here comes Hernandez to the outside. He's going to have Houseman giving him help. And Carl Pooler stays on the top, so that's going to allow Hernandez to pull himself further forward the closer he gets to that 71, leaving Camper alone down on the inside line. Clear, out and away. Patrick Hernandez leads them, and Houseman's going to try to move up for second.
Problems in the back. Stallings in the wall. Dustin Stallings with all kinds of right side damage. This will need a replay. So here's Dustin Stallings racing with Evan Patinko and Jason Bottoms in the green and white 0 car. Eric Jensen behind, and oh boy, wouldn't it be something if it was the two Michigan cars tangling.
You see rolling through turn 2.
Just got the wall on his own.
That's a big impact. He hit it square, but that's still a big impact for that Maverick Motorsports Toyota Camry.
He's still on the racetrack. I don't know what he's doing.
Is he broke?
He's got some room behind him, but he's throwing grass all over the racetrack here. I think he's trying to continue. The stage is only 10 laps away, but he's going to go a lap down, and he's going to be a hazard to the entire field.
1 lap down in the grand scheme of things isn't going to be a huge issue.
Well, but here he is in turn 1. Here's the field in turn 3. That half racetrack is going to get closed up quick.
True, but he will get the free pass at the end of the stage when the caution comes out. Problem is, he's creating a hazard for himself as Coulter Clark grabs the wall a little bit. They're spacing out 3 wide back there, a couple rows deep. And he's going to slot in line, get back to 2 wide. It's 3 wide behind him. Braxton Skinner's in the middle of that. But
Zachary King is in this. Here comes Adam Buzzio in the 5 car. As it's a race lead, or race for the lead rather. Mason Houseman now to the inside of Patrick Hernandez. So Hernandez up here racing with the big 3 of Houseman, Sutherland, and Wood. And Nicholas Renner now getting a run. Here he comes in 5th. They're 4 wide in the back. Sutherland to run. He comes up right behind Mason Houseman. That's all for the race lead now. 4 or 5 cars under a blanket.
Hernandez thought he was going to step down and go with Johnny Wood Jr. for a second. But he just might have stepped out. You see it wiggling back there. Then Brendan Maddox. Or, no, that was Brendan Maddox. Renner on the bumper of Hernandez. Seeing where they can go. Renner decides to go to the bottom and push Johnny Wood Jr. Everyone slots down the racetrack to stay with the draft, so that leaves Hernandez by himself. He's got Gray Walker behind him, but here goes Renner down to the inside.
Renner working the bottom of the racetrack there. Bobbles off of turn number 2. Hernandez in that 91 car has looked oh so good in this opening stage. Let's check in on where that 0 car is. Here he is into turn 1 now. It seems like he's gotten a handle on things. There's the field in turn 4. He is still losing time, but they might not catch him just yet. There was contact between Hernandez and Wood off the corner. More contact at the stripe. Side by side they stay. Camper, Selby, Walker, they've all made up time.
Into the quarter panel, and you've got Camper going right into the wall. So Hernandez could have gone around right there. Doesn't stay straight. Renner falls back a little bit. Camper falls back with him. Buzzio moving past Selby right now, or at least trying to. With Gray Walker right there in front of them. Camper staying in front of Renner.
And the battle right now for the top 10 in the stage comes down to Zachary Maddox and Matthew Selby. They are just on the inside of these stage positions and would have stage points as things stand. Zachary King, first car out. Now Brendan Maddox on the inside to be first car out. So Brendan Maddox going to fight his brother Zachary Maddox for that final position as Isaiah Sutherland has got to run on the inside.
Johnny Wood Jr. pushing him. Getting that 24 out in front. That Jeff Gordon throwback leading the way here at Michigan. And he's got quite a bit of a gap back there. Side drafting behind is going to let him extend that gap. A little bit of contact between Johnny Wood Jr. and Mason Houseman. Riding on board with Hernandez. He's back into the mix. 3 wide. Renner on the middle, or in the middle, on the inside of Hernandez. Camper's going to squeeze on by. Might be the beneficiary of it. That he is. Gets clear of both of them.
Brendan Maddox now into a stage point position. Would get 1 stage point here. Selby would get none. And where is Scott Fritz? He's back there in 13th. No, 14th. He's got to get up there, Zach. If he can do anything here, he's got to get stage points to make up points on Richard Wolsifer. This is an absolutely perfect opportunity for the 48 car. I know it looks scary. I know it looks like maybe he could get involved in a crash, but you've got to try and go for it, right?
Anything you can. Whatever points you can get. At the moment, Fritz is up on Wolsifer. Wolsifer's down in the 26th position, and Fritz is in 13th. So that's a solid 13 points, so that would put him... Oh my goodness, that would put him about 6 up on Wolsifer at the moment.
But if he got stage points, it would change it.
It would.
Here he goes.
Very much would.
He's in the back end of Maddox, back into Selby, alongside the 2-car of Borbell. He's now 12th.
2 cars. That's all he's got to do is pass 2 cars.
And he'll at least have a gain, a net positive here on the stage. That's what he needs. Maddox bows out. That's going to help him.
Still got to pass 2 cars as Borbell moves in front. Oh, a little bit of side rubbing right there on the quarter panel. They're coming to 2 laps to go in the stage. It's Sutherland and Wood way out in front of this group.
Watching the 48 of Scott Fritz as he tries to make the chase this evening. Tries to join his teammate Matthew Catania on the inside. He would leave Selby on the outside. Selby has no chance, I believe, coming into this evening. If anything, team orders would come into play here. Selby could back out and let the 48 in.
Look at Dakota Camper. He took a big look down the inside of Mason Houseman. They're racing for the 3rd spot. Borbell moves up into for stage points. Zachary Maddox coming up the racetrack ever so slightly. Scott Fritz is trying to make sure that he can stay up there. The side draft pulls Evan Patinko on by. So Fritz down into the 13th spot. He's looking at Gray Walker. He's got 1 lap here now, Andrew, to try and put himself into a stage point paying position, but he's dropping spots like a rock.
Straight down to 14th. Now going to rocket back to 13th, then 12th. He's got to find something here in the final 2 corners. He's going to dive on Evan Patinko here for 11th spot, but he's still 1 spot shy as they battle for the stage win up ahead. It's going to be Isaiah Sutherland blocking down the racetrack. Johnny Wood Jr. going to have to settle for 2nd. Sutherland wins the stage, and Scott Fritz will have to settle for no stage points, but a crash. A crash on the outside of the racetrack. Problems for Dakota Camper.
Big impacts back there. Camper goes through the grass, looks like he's clean. But Zachary Maddox, well, he didn't fare any better.
He's done. The motor just let go. You hear it winding down. He's going to be upset with that. There's Isaiah Sutherland, your stage 1 winner. We'll go back and get a look at what just happened.
Look at Sutherland blocking Johnny Wood Jr.
We saw the block off the corner, so let's go back and see what happened to Zachary Maddox. Coming to the line. Racing with Stephen Borbell. Racing with Matthew Selby. Oh, wow. Something happened to Camper as well. And Maddox and Selby already do not like each other. If you have followed anything in the Discord chat, you would know that. These guys are not fans of one another. What happens here? Okay. Hernandez checks up for the spinning Camper. Selby didn't see it. or didn't get the memo or something. It stayed in the gas. Maddox tried to come up and miss it and comes across the nose of the 46 car. So how does the 3 end up in this issue? What happens to him?
He's fighting with Renner.
With Renner and with Houseman. Houseman, Houseman dirty blocks him. So all of that is started by that block by the 78 car.
And race control apparently is not going to issue out any penalties at the moment. Their wording on the matter was there were too many factors playing into how this all went down. And I can agree with that, Andrew. I mean, you've got one incident up ahead that causes a separate incident down the road, but I mean, that raises the question then, do you place the blame on Houseman or Camper, or do you place it on Selby?
That's a really tricky situation. Let's give Selby the benefit of the doubt here and watch his onboard inside the car. My guess is he doesn't see any of it. No, he didn't.
Down to gas.
He didn't see any of that happening.
You did hear him jump out of the throttle, though. Might have just been in response to the car in front being so close together and expecting the caution to come out for the stage. But you're right, Andrew. He saw nothing going on in front.
Let's quickly dial up our Stage 1 winner this evening, Isaiah Sutherland, who wins Stage 1 over a really, really hungry field. It seems like you're used to getting these stage wins talking to us. You got the Stage 1 win at IRP, if I recall correctly. And what is your secret? I mean, what is it? It doesn't matter what racetrack. You're always up here contending for a stage win at the very least.
It's not really a secret. It's just trying to be in the right place at the right time. And Michigan is definitely one of those tracks. Makes me a little nervous out here because it's kind of like a packed super speedway race in a way. It takes a long time for people to kind of calm down and single file out. So you really just got to play your game right, almost like a super speedway race, and stay in the draft and also try to take care of your stuff as well. So, yeah, I feel good winning these stages. Just got to close these things out and get a couple more wins in a while. So hopefully I can try to keep up with the pack here and keep up with my car as well, not get any damage, and see what we can do. We got my teammate beside me here, so hopefully this can go pretty well here.
Best of luck here in Stage 2.
10-4, thank you.
Isaiah Sutherland leading us to the green flag here in just a moment. Let's see how this goes. Stage number 2, there's a lot on the line here, racing to lap 60. Green flag, back in the air. By the way, weather conditions in this race, 68 degrees in the air, 77 on track, mostly cloudy skies, and the clouds have been building over the course of the sim afternoon. Renner on the inside, Borbell goes down there.
I was going to say, are we going to have a Darlington situation again with fog and clouds covering the track too much?
I hope not.
Well, touching on those air conditions real quick, Andrew, 77 track temp. You know, we're used to seeing a hot and slick Michigan where it's really, really loose for these guys. That's a bit more grippy, all things considered. You know, that's going to give them a bit more of an edge. So you see Dakota Camper falling back in line right behind Renner, or excuse me, behind Hernandez. They have similar looking colors. It threw me off there for a second, but Hernandez go over the race lead, 3 wide behind, Buzzio up on the top side, Camper in the middle, Borbell on the bottom. It's going to start changing things up a little bit. Adam Buzzio coming into the fray. We've been waiting for him to get another win, Andrew. What was it, last season at Chicago that we saw him get a win? I haven't really seen him win that much since.
Yeah, I believe that was the last time the 5-car was in victory lane with Chicagoland a season ago. It's about his time to ring that bell. Attic to basement. There goes Buzzio for the race lead. Huge, strong move to the point. You see the dirty air for these guys. They struggle off the corner, 4 wide, right behind. That is a big move from Richard Wolsifer.
He's got to get up there. He's got to hang on to his playoff spot, or his chase spot, excuse me. He's moved in front of Scott Fritz. They were 4 wide for a second, back to 3. Wolsifer taking no prisoners right now.
Moves up in front of Borbell. Oh, trying to shut the door on Josh Anderson. Couldn't get the door shut in time. He'll have to hang on as Fritz battles back to the inside. Fritz has to finish. If Fritz has no stage points tonight, well, so far he doesn't, he needs to finish 7 positions ahead of the 56 to come out dead even. He needs 8 positions in order to have the advantage. That is why we say he needs to get these stage points. He needs to get some here in stage 2. He already missed out on stage 1. Three wide, Wolsifer, hang on to it.
Oh boy.
He's gonna fall back. Fritz takes the spot. Fritz now runs about 12th. I mean, it's hard to say. The positions change every moment. He gets loose. Here comes Wolsifer back on the inside. And Zach, can you hear it? These guys have been so crazy. My voice is already starting to go.
Oh man. We don't need that, man. You
got
are
3
the lead
broadcasts
here.
this week. Off the corner, Patrick Hernandez, Zachary King, side by side. I don't know where Zachary King came from, but hello and welcome to the fight.
To the inside. Oh, Hernandez pinched it way down there. Didn't give him a lot of opportunity. Now they're all stacking up, contact in the wall. They're single file up there. 5 cars. You could throw them under a blanket. Zachary King trying to get into the mix. Up off the corner. Gets in line. Hernandez now on the bumper of Buzzio, leading this race. Look at Fritz in the middle of a 3 wide situation. Sutherland underneath him. Fritz has got to hang on to what he's got, Andrew. He's got to get these stage points, especially with Wolsifer down the running order again. Move Fritz back into contention. He's got the nose in front to make it into the chase by about, what is it, 7? He's 10 spots in front, so about 3 points up right now. Plus the stage points, that would put him 7 points up right now.
On board of Scott Fritz, you see the view ahead, 3 wide. Hernandez in the middle, Renner down low, King up top. Here goes Scott Fritz to the middle of the racetrack. Coulter Clark, though, with a move.
Doing here, boys? What are we doing here?
Racing. I love this.
I knew you were going to say that. 3 wide. Johnny Wood Jr. in the middle. Scott Fritz in the middle. Renner comes up to cover off Fritz. Slides all the way up the racetrack. There was almost contact right there. Gets in line. Now Fritz to the inside. He's going to side draft off that 11 car. This could be huge for Fritz. If he plays his cards right, he could roll up to the lead. And who's up in the lead right now? That's Zachary King and Patrick Hernandez duking it out. Buzzio right behind them. You see Maddox next to Buzzio. Out the windshield of the 48 that was. Buzzio falls up in line. That leaves Zachary King all by himself on the bottom lane. He's got Fritz back there, but he's not close enough to give him enough help. Maddox to the bottom. All the way to the bottom. 3 wide for the race lead.
3 wide across the stripe there. Brendan Maddox going to charge out ahead. So he goes up to the point. Here comes Scott Fritz now for 5th, now 4th. Maddox falls back to Hernandez, who goes down low. Wolsifer's trying to get back into the fight. Oh, they're about to crash. There goes Anderson.
In front of Houseman. Camper goes into the wall too. That's a problem for Camper. That could be huge. In terms of the points, Wolsifer's back in the top 10. Where did he come from?
He was right behind that little crash that just happened. Here comes Brendan Maddox right back down to the inside lane. Absolute insanity right now.
This isn't something we considered, but if Camper falls low enough and you've got Wolsifer and Fritz getting stage points,
whoa,
that
on Wolsifer.
Wolsifer makes contact with Skinner.
They are doing everything they can to scare Richard Wolsifer tonight.
They're doing everything they can to wreck. If I didn't know any better, I would think these guys want a caution flag.
3 abreast. Corbell down low. Wood in the middle. Coulter Clark up top. Now Walker up top. Wolsifer racing with Houseman. Corbell backs out in the bottom. Whoa, Scott Fritz.
Look at Fritz. Big move down to the bottom.
He got nudged down there.
Zachary King up top that he's fighting with Johnny Wood Jr. right behind that 48. Think about it this way too. Fritz is all alone right now. He's got no teammates up there to help him. Catania's out of this race. Selby is way too far down the running order. He's 9 seconds away from the leader. I mean, he's by himself. He's got to make his friends. And he's got to make them now. You would think Manufacturer Alliance might be a good deal, but whoever you can find that's going to work with you, just go for it. Keep yourself up there. He's going to get a lot of stage points from what it looks like if he can hang on. And then if Wolsifer gets up there, that could pose a problem for Dakota Camper. He's sitting down in a 23rd position. We think back to the points. He was only about 20-some points off the cut line. I'm looking at the points actually right now. He was only 23 points up. So, with where he's running right now, if any of these guys get stage points, Andrew, that could pose a problem.
Some big moves going on throughout the course of the field. Buzzio over Maddox now leading the race. 3rd place Renner, 4th place Hernandez. Here looks to the outside is the 48 of Scott Fritz. Zach King gives him room. And the stage 1 winner, Isaiah Sutherland, rides 13th. Coming up on 10 laps to go in stage number 2. We're not even halfway, Zach.
Yeah, I was trying to think of a pun real quick of how tense this situation is, but I got nothing. Absolutely nothing. To the outside, Scott Fritz, he's going around Hernandez. That's a big move. Hernandez still there. He's going to squeeze him to the outside wall, but the draft belongs to Scott Fritz. He's up to 5th, inside the top 5, up to 4th now because they were 3 wide. Johnny Wood Jr. to the inside. Here comes Gray Walker into the fold. He's got help with Mason Houseman right behind him. Hernandez is going to slot in line. Renner slots in, but Fritz goes to the bottom. He's not holding back, Andrew. The stage is going to end in 10 laps, and he wants to be up there when it does.
He needs to be up there when it does. That's good for 3rd. Racing for 2nd. Looking for it. Brendan Maddox might have to move over.
He's not going to have the draft. Scott Fritz is going to lose out here. He's going to side draft. That's the only way he's going to stick with them. Side draft or fall in line. Renner closes the door. He closes the hole, really. He's got Hernandez pushing him hard. Now they're going to be 3 wide going into the corner. Fritz is committed to that bottom line. He's got help with the draft off of Brendan Maddox, but now he's got no help down the straightaway. I say that, Johnny Wood Jr. with the push down the back straightaway. Ditches him ever so quickly going into turn number 3.
Yeah, Johnny Wood Jr. has to think about the fact that if he helps the 75 car, or helps the 48 car rather, that is working against his teammate Richard Wolsifer. So Johnny's got to think about that here when he gives those pushes. Wolsifer, though, right behind this little group, he's in 10th. Here he comes.
Sutherland. Are we going to get 4 wide here? We're definitely 3. We almost were 4.
Almost.
Fritz in the middle. Hernandez, help from behind with Johnny Wood Jr. Renner falls in line now on the outside line. Contact between Sutherland and Fritz. They're back to 3 wide racing. Gray Walker on the outside line. Now with the 3 wides in front with Johnny Wood Jr. in the middle. Sutherland to the inside. Those Racer for Christ Chevrolets are side by side up off the corner. Hernandez to the top side. He's not giving him any room here.
All while Buzzio and Maddox continue to battle it out for the race lead. Renner in 3rd. This has been one of the best fights ever. And now Johnny Wood Jr. gets into Nicholas Renner. Where's Wolsifer? Where's Fritz? Fritz gets a piece. Wolsifer gets a piece.
Big piece. Locks it down.
Oh, big hit.
Moyer.
Robert Moyer Jr. and Jared Hughes there. Big hit.
Per race control, this will not be the stage yellow.
Oh, Wolsifer nearly had another piece. That is right front damage to the 56 car.
He's definitely got a piece, I'll say. He's got damage on that race car, so he's going to have to do something to help out with that.
Fritz had a piece too, so it's not like he's getting away scot-free. It all starts with Johnny Wood Jr. and Nicholas Renner.
About half a lap prior, you see the 3 wide up in front. Johnny Wood Jr. and Isaiah Sutherland are racing real close together. You've got Hernandez side scraping the wall just a little bit. And then this is where it all unfolds. Going into turn number 1 here. Renner is up on the top. You see him cut to the middle. I think he just comes down a little bit on Johnny Wood Jr. and then Johnny Wood Jr. spins around. Hausman tries to check up, gets hit from behind by Wolsifer. There you see Hughes. Oh man, right side of your screen, Robert Moyer Jr. going around.
Let's check the impacts here for Scott Fritz and Richard Wolsifer. Fritz here first. Gets into the 75. A little bit of damage. That'll be okay. That's cosmetic.
A buff out.
My concern is the 56 car of Wolsifer. He stacks up into Mason Hausman.
I would have stayed high right there. I would have ran that car high. But it's hard to do really anything when you can't see much going on in front of you. Good job locking it down and not sliding to the inside wall. Gets that car back rolling. We see right here on the onboard, does he have any steering damage? Ooh, has to quick avoid Robert Moyer Jr. sit in the middle of the track. That wheel's straight, Andrew. So I would count my blessings there.
You want to talk lucky performance, lucky break of the day?
There's a nomination.
No, I'm going to nominate the 48 car. This could have been so much worse.
You know what? You're not wrong.
Oh man, Moyer got hit hard.
The impact behind. And per the incident, I would guess, Race Control has deemed the 11 at fault, saying that Renner did come down on the 75 of Johnny Wood Jr. So that's going to be a pass-through penalty for the 11 car when we take the green flag here. And this is not the stage. They're not going to call stage here. So Brendan Maddox out in front, Adam Buzzio, Isaiah Sutherland, Patrick Hernandez, Gray Walker, your top 5. Then it's Fritz, Renner, King. A couple of cars right behind them. Cody Dorsey, Johnny Wood Jr. and Braxton Skinner. Stephen Borbell as well.
Take a look at Richard Wolsifer's machine. All that right front damage. He was looking really good there all of a sudden, and then really bad.
That car looks really good now.
Oh, it's still got some damage.
You know, it's times like these, Andrew, that I think back to an old saying from Dale Earnhardt. You know, it's, oh my goodness, what is it? I know the back end of the statement, but I don't remember the lead into it. There it is. The winner ain't the one with the fastest car. It's the one who refuses to lose.
We'll see who's able to refuse to lose this evening. This is going to be a dogfight of a restart. Adam Buzzio, Brendan Maddox, Isaiah Sutherland, Patrick Hernandez, Scott Fritz, Gray Walker, your top 6. That's through your first 3 rows. And here we go. Back to the restart zone. Green flag back in the air. Brendan Maddox leads us. Three wide down the backstretch already. Contact there between Hernandez and Buzzio.
Sutherland comes in line behind that 5 car. It's Brendan Maddox. He's stretching his lead out. It's going to be a white flag on the stage here. See one car going down into the pit lane. That's Renner serving his pass-through penalty. It won't affect him too much as the caution's going to come out in about a lap here. So he won't go a lap down.
2 laps.
Or 2 laps. Excuse me.
From the fan cam here at Michigan. Watching these guys down the backstretch. They're so far away. They're rocketing towards us. Who's going to have to move into turn 3?
Saw Buzzio get to the bumper here. He is right there with Maddox. He takes a look to the outside line. Cuts that car down. Gets a straight exit up off the corner. Easier time to have the draft, but it's going to be the white flag on the stage for Brendan Maddox. The top 10 has shifted completely. Dakota Camper's back inside the top 10, trying to hang on to his stage points. But drivers that have fallen outside of the top 10, Scott Fritz, he's 2 cars outside, just about where he was the last time around when we came out for the first stage. Dakota Camper is up inside the top 5, so that could all secure his positions and keep him in the fray.
Watch Scott Fritz here. Can he get back into the top 10, even for 1 point? He's got that right front damage, plows the wall down. For the stage win, Zachary King. Where did he come from? He's going to win the stage.
What a jump from the 51 car. He got a big push there. Stage 2 winners, Zach King, Buzzio, Sutherland, Camper, Maddox, Borbell, Jason Bottoms, Gray Walker, Patrick Hernandez, and Evan Patinko. Jason Bottom fan club rejoice. He's gotten stage points today.
We'll help him out. But Zachary King with a stage win here. I was ready to write him out of the points, and he might still be written out of the points, admittedly. But that's going to be a huge help.
He won't be in the chase for the championship, but he'll be in the hunt for another win. He hasn't gotten a win since race 1 here at Atlanta.
Watch this back. He was 4th down the backstretch. Maddox tried to block Buzzio.
Big move to the inside on Sutherland. The fact that he had the run to clear the 24 is mega, and I think that's what secured it. He gets the run. He gets the push from the 24. Green and white checkered for that 51 car.
I'm going to be honest with you, Zach. That kind of move is driver of the day energy.
It is.
You see there's the move from Buzzio. Maddox tried to block it, couldn't do it. Zachary King just paints that yellow line. And you know what? He had new tires. That's part of it.
That's very true. Tires are a big thing at Michigan. They really contribute to the overall race product, and it gives. Yeah, there's always tires advantage.
Jason Bottom stays out here. Everybody else comes in. Johnny Wood Jr. with some right side damage. Eric Jensen goes straight through. Then Zachary King. And Josh Anderson. There goes Camper.
Camper with a solid performance in that second stage. Those stage points are going to be crucial to keep him in this playoff hunt. It is now, to my knowledge, that Maddox should be locked in if we're talking about points, because mathematically speaking he wasn't, but he should be locked in on points. And
well, really quick while you work on some math, Eric Jensen takes fuel only. Jason Bottom stays out. Zachary King takes 2 tires and heads back out on the racetrack along with his teammate Josh Anderson. Let's talk with Zachary King as Zachary Maddox, not Maddox, Zachary Murtis, there we go, 2 Zachary M's. While Zachary Murtis works on some points in the background, we'll talk with Zachary King, the Stage 2 winner.
What if we have the little Zach and Zach show in the booth here?
Well, we'll tell you what, we'll ping pong. If I can find Zachary King. There is Zachary King, way up top. We'll grab Zachary King and talk to him as he wins stage number 2. First time we've seen the 51 in P1 since Atlanta. How's that car feel, Zachary King?
Yeah, the car just felt really good. As soon as the restart happened, I just kind of remembered what happened last night in the practice race, and just once I gripped up, the car gripped up, it just took off, and it was like letting a bird out of a cage, and it just took off straight to the front. It was really nice. Led some laps earlier on in the stage, but yeah, very happy with this K1 speed made by Motorsports Ford Mustang.
Well, from one Zach to another, you're doing great out there. You're hanging on to it. Do you think you're going to have something for him at the end of this race? You think you're going to be able to stay up there and take this win, go for win number 2?
That's the goal. But if we can get to that point where it comes down to a strategy, if we have green flag pit stops, that's where it's really going to matter. Worked on my craft this week of getting on pit road, getting out of pit road, figuring out my pit strategy. So, it's all going to be together. We'll just have to try to figure out as best we can and try to win the stage and try to win the race. Not stage, win the race, but yeah.
Well, the stage win. Best of luck here in stage number 3. 61 laps to the end of this one. Congratulations on the stage win.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Zach. Have a great night, guys.
We'll move him back up and let him talk with Zachary Maddox again. But here we go to the Geico restart zone. Jason Bottoms, Eric Jensen, green flag, back in the air. Whoa, Eric Jensen way up the racetrack. Jason Bottoms leads down the backstretch. One car out of line, that's Carl Pooler.
Tied up in front for that second spot, though. Zachary King to the inside. He's got no help, though. Sutherland's the first car on the inside line. He's 3 cars back, just jumped up to the top. There's a hole right behind that 07. Is he going to plug it? No, he's not. Adam Buzzio goes rolling on by that 51 car. They're fighting hard up there. This is a really different top 10, though, Andrew. Not to the detriment of these drivers up here, because they're doing a great job. It's just not the top 10 we're used to seeing.
Buzzio move there on Maddox, on King rather. Jeez, I'm losing my last names. I don't know who's who anymore. Jensen to the race lead. The Michigan Wolverines, number 99. going to lead a lap at Michigan International Speedway.
Changing of the guard up front.
Jason Bottoms is up here. A lot of different players. Jensen, Bottoms, King, Anderson, Clark. All drivers we're not used to seeing in this top 10. And here we go. Battle for the race lead. Jason Bottoms to the bottom. I've been waiting all season to say that.
His last name to use. Jason Bottoms is now going to lead laps here at Michigan. 87 car out in front. Jensen right behind. Zachary King in tow. Josh Anderson, Dakota Camper, Adam Buzzio, Coulter Clark, Borvell, Maddox, and Houseman, your top 10. And as soon as he got to the front, he's quickly fallen back. He ran the outside line. Bottoms now into third. Zachary King gets the nose in front of the 87, but Jensen clears for that race lead.
Buzzio all the way down low. King through the middle. Anderson sits back. Camper is in this group. And these guys are separating from the middle. Crash! Coulter, no, Gray Walker, so many crashing. Scott Fritz is in the middle of it, but I think he gets through. He does.
He was right behind Braxton Skinner when that all went down.
Nicholas Renner, Gray Walker, they're involved. Patrick Hernandez got a piece of it.
We've got a number of drivers involved in this one. That's going to be one heck of an incident for Race Controller Review. And I think we've got another nomination for Lucky Performance, Lucky Break of the Day. It's going to go to Scott Fritz. This is where it all transpired up in front, right behind Isaiah Sutherland. They're 3 wide. Walker slides up. Hernandez tags the wall. I can't tell really if that's on Renner or Hernandez. I feel like they both kind of squeezed into the middle line right there on Walker.
Let's watch it back. Watch the 91 off the top side of the racetrack here. We'll slow it down. Comes down. He came down. Hernandez came down in this case.
And look at Renner into the wall. Fritz could have easily been involved in that mix.
Whoa, Cody Dorsey. That's going to be a one to look at right there. Give us 1 second to get to it. Cody Dorsey, watch this.
They're wrecking up front. Through the middle, he almost got tagged by Carl Pooler and pushed into the mix, so that could have been way worse than it was.
Lucky performance, lucky break of the day right there, possibly. And let's watch this now for Scott Fritz.
Fritz is clear up top, slides up. There's the wreck.
Nearly got run over by Patinko.
It wasn't as close as I thought it was, but with the implications that it presents with Fritz trying to make the chase tonight, I feel like that deserves a Lucky Performance, Lucky Break of the Day nomination.
I want to check the onboard of the 11 car of Nicholas Renner and see just how hard this hit was. See it happen to him. He was just on the outside lane. Braxton Skinner got a big piece of it. He was just minding his own business, trying to run the inside of the outside, if you will. Braxton Skinner right behind all of this. Similar deal. Minding his own business. And now Skinner works off the pit lane. His car is okay. Wolsifer right behind him. And I think this is a moment where we've got to talk to a driver that has been through a lot these last couple of weeks. Let's dial up Richard Wolsifer and see how he's doing as he chases a chase berth. Richard, we've seen some bad luck for you the last couple of weeks, especially last week at IRP. That seems to be bleeding into tonight. How's the car feel? How's the damage?
Damage feels pretty bad right now. The car wants to push pretty bad, so that situation where we got into the wreck earlier was 4 wide. Didn't know we were 4 wide, so that kind of put a damper on the run tonight, but mood's still high. Still feel like we got some speed, got some chance here, so I was just kind of lucky Fritz didn't get any stage points there, so just got to stay basically within 7 places of him, so still got a chance. We're still in it.
And is there any more damage that your team can fix?
Oh yeah, the rest of the car is still fixable, so I'm hoping for another caution or two. I mean, yes, but so yeah, once the damage is fixed, I think we can get back up to the field again. But just got to hope on maybe another caution or two.
I have to check back in with you a little bit later, see how the damage repair goes. Best of luck here.
All right, thank you, sir.
Richard Wolsifer trying to chase a chase berth. Checking in with driver 56 there is Eric Jensen's going to lead us back to the green. Eric Jensen, Zachary King, Josh C. Anderson, Jason Bottoms, Dakota Camper, Adam Buzzio, Stephen Borbell, Coulter Clark, Mason Houseman, and Brendan Maddox. Green flag back in the air. Here comes Jason Bottoms. He's got to run. He's on the outside.
Three wide behind him. Look at that. Dakota Camper's in the middle.
3 wide for the race lead. 3 wide for fourth. King moving around. Bottoms falls back, and now Buzzio's going to lead.
Not for very much longer, though. That draft is all up on that top side. Side by side for the race lead. Jensen tries to squeeze him. Look at Bottoms. He didn't want to stay in line there, but he might have gotten checked up a little bit and it forced him out.
Bottoms falling back to 6th. Camper and Clark lean on each other. Clark finds a place in line up on the top side. Coulter Clark gonna rim ride all the way to that outside lane. Dakota Camper's back. He's in 3rd.
To the wall. Most of these drivers look like they're scraping it. I'll drag him down as they go across the straightaway, or down the straightaway. 3 wide. There's some contact though. Dakota Camper pushing Jensen into the corner. Might push him past Buzzio. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. But they're 3 wide behind. Bottoms up top. King in the middle. Borbell trying to fight for it. Houseman coming back into the fight. Scott Fritz is right behind him in tow.
On board the BRB merch hauler, number 2 of Stephen Borbell. Trying to push the 51 of Zachary King. Whoa, Clark, a block there from Jensen. And Jensen's going to surge the race lead. Maybe not. Buzzio has the run on the outside.
Everything changing up. Look at them all moving around down the back straightaway. Jensen's still down on that bottom line. Coulter Clark way up to the wall. Camper and Bottoms with him. Zachary King cannot escape that middle line, Andrew. He's been stuck in the sucker hole for a couple laps now.
Watch Clark.
Clark is going to put one past.
Watch
Inside
Clark
he
here to
goes.
turn 1. He's going to dive down to the bottom of turn number 1, and Coulter Clark now is going to lead at Michigan International Speedway. This Duck Coat 250 has been absolutely phenomenal. No matter what turn, no matter what lap, no matter what stage, there's something new around every single corner of this race. Something new. Every single lap. Everybody just, this is cutthroat racing at its finest. This is amazing.
You say new, and I'm going to ask you here, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. What are the odds we see a first-time winner on the season tonight?
Very, very high compared to most racetracks.
Look at Jensen back down to the bottom. To the inside of Borbell. He's going to get to the inside of Buzzio. Bottom still rolling that top side. He's committed to it, even though he's got no help. Zachary King moves on by that 87. But Jensen trying to make that bottom line work for him. He's got to run back down to the bottom of Borbell. Look at Scott Fritz with a big move to the inside. He's pulled up to Zachary King.
And he's a ways ahead of Richard Wolfsfer, who runs 20th. This would be good enough to move Fritz into the chase if he can hold on to it.
I will say, as we pass halfway in this race, per the point standings, if I'm not mistaken and my math has been done correctly, Jared Hughes and Matthew Catania should theoretically be a lock. I want to say it's very iffy on Catania because he is 29th out of all these drivers. I mean, that's a big if. The big thing that I'm going off of right now is that Camper got stage points, and that should theoretically put him as a lock as well. So the fight would be between Scott Fritz and Richard Wolfsfer straight up on points. Neither of them got stage points, so it's a straight up dogfight to the end.
Yeah, Catania is going to be barely scooting on into the chase at this point.
Three wide, though. Down the back straightaway. King, Bottoms, Fritz, Houseman pushing on past. Back to two wide. Jeez, I sound like a spotter right now.
Here comes Scott Fritz on the inside of Zachary King. There goes Mason Houseman on by. Here comes Brendan Maddox on by.
He's going backwards.
Yeah, he had a bad run there off the corner. Falls back to 9th position here to turn 1. We're going to be watching him a lot these last 45 laps or so. To get used to it. Coulter Clark out ahead, still leading here at Michigan, but Adam Buzzio going to try and say something about it. Meanwhile, cars are everywhere in the back. Bottoms, Dorsey, Patinko, Bly, that whole team all over the place. Gray Walker back here, Johnny Wood Jr. Man, this is just absolutely insane. Insane? Insane. I tried to mix insane and insanity there, and it just came out insane. I don't know.
It feels like, at least to me, I don't know what you're going to think about it, but it feels like the front and the back of this main drafting pack has flipped from what it was at the start of the race.
All I know...
A couple of drivers still lingering, though.
All I know is I'm enjoying it as Camper slides off the corner, some contact in behind. Hangs on to the race car, but only just. At the moment there were Josh Anderson. Coulter Clark way up the racetrack. Here comes Adam Buzzio. He'll go right on by.
Maybe not right on by. Coulter Clark coming down the racetrack to side draft, but Buzzio's not going to let him be able to do it because he knows if he keeps his momentum going into 3, he might just be able to clear that 54 on the bottom, rolling through 3 and 4. Adam Buzzio back to the front of the field.
Here comes Coulter Clark with a run. Is he going to dive back down, or does he hold him behind the 5 car? He dives.
To the bottom.
And crossover. So a big slide job, big crossover out of the 5. This is peak Michigan racing.
Tell me about it.
Big block from Clark. Here comes Borbell.
I think it's worth noting, Andrew, we talked about it just a bit ago, what the odds are of seeing a first-time winner on the season. 7 of the drivers in the top 10 do not have a win this season. That being Buzzio, Clark, Borbell, Patinko, Brendan Maddox, Scott Fritz, and with Johnny Wood Jr. moving back in, that takes out one other driver, and Eric Jensen's the only other one that does not have a win on the season. Actually, I still think that makes 7.
I believe so. Everybody but Houseman, Sutherland,
7.
and Wood would be looking for their first win on the season. Oh, Fritz in the wall!
Jake Minnesota.
That was a big slap to the outside wall.
Take a look at the right side as he comes on around. Yeah, you see it's punched in along that fender. That's going to give him some aero damage, but he's still in the top 10, Andrew. He's still rolling. And that means the fight is still alive for that 48 car.
We'll go back and see just what happened to the 48 down the backstretch. That car was looking good. It was inside the top 10. He now runs 9th live, but what happened here? Oh,
Ooh.
Clark kind of tail whipped him into the corner.
Little car foo action for you right there. I was expecting a punchline there, Andrew.
Well, watch Coulter Clark. Not
Ooh.
quite clear.
I mean, he was clear, but the hole closed way too quickly.
And now Scott Fritz falls back to 10th. That
He's
could
still-
be the difference between that 48 car making and missing the chase.
He's still ahead, though. That's
For
the
now.
big thing here.
By 9 positions. He would have it by 2 points right now. But that's not a good margin.
He's just got to stay in the dogfight, Andrew. You've got 39 laps to go after we cross the stripe right there. 39 more times around this racetrack. If you can hang on, you're still in the fight. And it looks like he's still going for passes. He just passed Anderson, or is at least trying to. He gets clear of that 07 car, and they're fighting up in front, so it looks like he hasn't really lost the draft yet. He's still in this fight.
He might get away lucky, but that damage could be very detrimental. We've seen small bits of damage upset the balance of these race cars and put them in the fence.
Now, if caution comes out, that would help them greatly. But the fight continues up in front. Look at Evan Patinko. This is one driver we haven't talked about too much over the course of the season, really over the course of the day, too. As he gets squeezed out. Oh, man. Oh, talking about getting scared right there. Almost turning around. Isaiah Sutherland almost getting squeezed to the wall, though. But Evan Patinko is one driver, Andrew, we have not talked much about. He's missing out on the chase tonight. He's not going to have enough points to mathematically get himself in. But he's still out here running for these wins. He's been kind of coming into the fray a little bit more recently with having a little bit better runs. He was having a good run last week at IRP. He was having a good run at Daytona. Obviously, the finishes don't show the results that he had, but, you know, he's been stepping up his competition level, and I got to give him credit for that.
Oh, nearly a moment. That was a moment with Isaiah Sutherland. Here comes Johnny Wood Jr. to go by the 81 car. They sort it out, though, and we carry on. Patinko down to 5th as they stack up ahead of him. Buzzio, Borbell, Houseman, they all check up. Sutherland with a run. He moves down to the inside of Borbell. And we're going to have 36 laps to go right there at the stripe.
Was gonna try to be a little bit more optimistic here, but I'm starting to share your sentiments when it comes to Scott Fritz. He's fallen outside the top 10. Dakota Camper's back inside the top 10. And now he's only got about 1 point up on Richard Wolsifer. That damage might be a little bit more detrimental to that 48 than I initially thought, because he might lose the draft on the cars in front of him here. He's only got about 3/10 to Camper, and the draft usually stretches about 8/10, 9/10, maybe a full second for these guys. The fight up in front's going to help him with them staying side by side, but I don't know, Andrew. I do not know.
And Wolsifer can't go much lower. He's down in the 19th position right now, running 13 seconds off the pace. He can't go much lower other than maybe to 20th with Jared Hughes behind him. He's kind of right on his own at the moment, just literally on his own, nobody around him. So for Fritz, you really got to think about just going forward. You can only go forward. So he's got to get that damage fixed at some point, but of course it's going to take a caution flag, and I don't see one happening necessarily anytime soon. These guys have gotten the longest green flag run of the night in this run. Sutherland moves up to the race lead over Buzzio and Wood. This thing could go green to the end because they're spreading out so much.
You're not wrong. With not too many fights, there's not really open opportunity for a caution to come
Look
out.
at that, single file all the way back. For the first time tonight, things are quieting down at Michigan. What has been a crazy, crazy day has finally settled into a normal, typical race, and we've got cars in trouble. Gray Walker blinking. He's back. He's gone. He's back. He's gone. He's back.
What are we doing? Playing peekaboo?
Oh, man. Well, it's about that time. Time is running out. It's time to talk about the North American Racing League Driver of the Day. And Zach, the floor is yours. To make that first nomination, it's going to be Scott Fritz, it sounds like.
Got him. The man's hunting for a chase spot, and he's doing everything he can. He has had, for lack of a better expression, a day from hell. I mean, that is the worst type of stuff that you can have on the racetrack today. He's avoided wrecks that have given him damage. He's gotten damage that have resulted in him losing positions. You know, he's falling into the clutches of Gray Walker at the moment, and he's going to go down and end up being tied in position should he lose the spot here. He's doing all he can, Andrew. I mean, you can't help but nominate the man who is struggling on trying to make the chase.
So a nomination there for Scott Fritz. I'm going to drop a couple of spots and go down to Zachary King and nominate the Stage 2 winner. Should we get a caution and get this guy back in it, we could see the 51 go back to victory lane for the second time this season. Zachary King, my nomination for Driver of the Day.
Trying to think about who I would want for my number 2 nomination. Ooh,
well, pit stop. Steven Borbell going to come in. 30 to go. We got to do this quick.
I think if I'm going to pull another nomination, you know what? I'm going to make the fan club happy. I'm going to go with Jason Bottoms. He's sitting a lap down right now. He was out there rolling that top side, doing everything he could to, try and win a race. You don't see him up in the front a lot, and to be up there is something great for him, and I think he deserves a Driver of the Day nomination for that.
Well, with Jason Bottoms getting a nomination, he should get some votes for sure. But I'm going to nominate the guy that's pitting right now. Adam Buzzio. He's led a whole bunch of laps this evening, has really been on top of his game. 24 laps led for the 5-car. I'm going to nominate driver number 5 for Driver of the Day, and we'll see how that vote goes. Misses his box. Oh, whoa. The curse. The curse is real.
That's going to be rough for that 5-car. I'm sure Buzzio's not
too tires, though.
With it, though.
2 tires.
He'll negate some of that loss then.
Scott Fritz going for 4. Eric Jensen going for 4. Let's see. Steven Borbell did 4. Cody Dorsey did 4. Jason Bottoms did 4. But Adam Buzzio taking 2 tires could be one to watch for the race win. He's done this kind of thing before. Think back to Chicago when he got that win a season ago.
You know what I'm watching for right now? Speeding penalties. Green flag pit stops, Andrew. We've seen it time and time again as we see Braxton Skinner getting passed by Isaiah Sutherland here. Johnny Wood Jr. with a big duck to the bottom. Sutherland's going with him.
Sutherland and Johnny Wood Jr. going to pit. Do we see any takers behind them? Patinko is in, and he's down and away. King is down and away. Dakota Camper stays out along with Mason Houseman and Brendan Maddox. There you see Borbell, who has pitted. He's in the 2. While this pit cycle gets underway, got to thank the partners here with the BRB Racing League, the Buttkicker, Ascendance Trucks, Ideal Lease, and Sundance Pizza. All doing so much for us, allowing these broadcasts to happen, allowing these races to take place, and helping this league every step of the way. Maddox looking for his box. Anderson finds his. Sam Dyer stayed out that lap. He stays on the racetrack along with Dakota Bly.
You know, with how spread out this race is, Andrew, the stay out, hope for a caution play, I don't think it's going to be very effective here tonight.
No, I don't think so.
You see Dakota Bly ripping that yellow line just about on the apron right there. I thought he was going to duck down to the pit lane. Guess not. And he's sitting about 5 seconds behind Sam Dyer, so there's not really a lot of help for anybody either. So with the draft picking back up and everybody getting grouped back together, they're sitting more at a detriment staying out for so long. And if tires weren't such a big strategy play, especially here at Michigan, then, you know, maybe it might work out into their favor. But with tire advantage and draft, it's going to be like a super speedway, which it's going to be like a super speedway. It is a super speedway. They're going to get swallowed up here.
Well, as far as the two tire gang, it's going to be Johnny Wood Jr., Adam Buzzio, and Mason Houseman. And everybody else took 4.
They are separated by a hefty margin here, too. There you see Wood and Buzzio. Then it's Houseman all by himself. And then it's Sutherland and Borbell way further on back. The next closest car to them would be Coulter Clark. He's over a second off of them. Then it's Maddox and Camper, your top 10. You know, a lot of fans, I'll say, Andrew, they tend to like the pack racing, the close together. But I love this. I love this kind of racing. We've seen Sam Dyer come into the pit lane. I love seeing him get spread out. I love seeing him try to work off the strategy. That is racing to me.
Well, Johnny Wood Jr. has got what will turn into the race lead with about 23 laps to go here. Adam Buzzio sits in second. Mason Houseman sits in third effectively. And Houseman has got no sense of this race lead draft. He's 1.6 seconds back, hanging on to everything he's got with those tires. Buzzio right now runs the inside big time there, and he's going to lose. I like Johnny Wood Jr. here for this. Unless we get a caution, I like the 75. And not just because he's leading, but looking at the whole picture, I don't think anybody's got anything on him right now.
Things can change. You never know. Say we do get a late race caution. Say he has a problem. The uncertainties of racing always prove to be detrimental to the lead car, I'll say.
A couple of packs around the field, including this one. Coulter Clark, Brendan Maddox, and Dakota Camper. Up the road just a bit, you'll find Stephen Borbell and Isaiah Sutherland. So drivers that would be a surprising top 10 right now would still include Coulter Clark, Evan Patinko, and Cody Dorsey. Each of those drivers having a good run tonight. Josh Anderson in that group as well, along with Cody Dorsey and Evan Patinko. So Anderson could get to racing these guys and potentially have one of those spots. Jason Bottoms runs in 12th, Gray Walker 13th. And Zach, as far as the chase picture, Scott Fritz runs 14th. Richard Wolfsfer runs 18th. This would be Wolfsfer's day.
That would knock out Scott Fritz by about 3 points. And I mean, that's a heavy blow. You do everything right. You try to stay out and do what you can, and to miss out on chasing a championship by 3 points. That's just huge. And I can't imagine what he's going through right now. I'm sure that he is praying that the caution comes out, praying something happens that could absolutely give him a better opportunity to put himself in contention to be in this chase. There's only so much. There's only so much you can do.
The problem with a caution, Zach, is that could allow Wolfsburg to get back in the race too. So yes, you want a caution in his position. I'm not doubting that at all. But if a caution does come out, that could absolutely help the 56 even more. Well, down about 18 laps to go this next time by the flag stand. And so far, it's Johnny Wood Jr., Adam Buzzio separated by a second. Mason Houseman another second and a half back. Then Isaiah Sutherland even further back. And Coulter Clark rounds out your top 5. And that's about all there is to write home about right now. The field is spreading out. As this run goes on, getting more and more spread apart, feeling more and more like a classic NASCAR race where these guys are just left to run on their own.
Just had a thought. Scott Fritz has led laps today, hasn't he? Has he led any laps at all?
Well, you know, we've got a fancy thing here on the ticker. We can flip it over to laps led and check. And the answer is no, none.
Nuts. They get a bonus point for leading a lap, Andrew, and they get a bonus point for leading the most laps, which at the moment would go to Adam Buzzio, but the longer Johnny Wood Jr. stays out in front, the more that's going to tick away from Buzzio's advantage. But if Fritz had led a lap, that could potentially give him a little bit of a leg up. But, you know, that's just a nice guy in me trying to see if we can find a way to get him up there.
You know, while we talk about this, Scott Fritz is having some big-time connection difficulties. He has solidified back. He has solidified for the time being, but he's been having some big-time blanks as he runs 14th. Sam Dyer goes past him. He passes Jason Bottoms. So he stays 14th spot.
He needs those 2 spots. He has to get them. That would put him 7 up, and that would tie him. Now, that's an interesting thing we didn't think about, Andrew. Who would get the tiebreaker?
That's a good question. I don't know.
16 laps to go. If you can't beat him, tie him.
Here's Richard Wolsifer on the other side of this battle. I know we're kind of covering the Fritz side and almost rooting for Scott Fritz, but this is absolutely everything Wolsifer needs to hang on and be just within range of that 48 car. So this is a solid situation right now for the 56 car. I know it's not by much, but in the battle between himself and Scott Fritz, he comes out on the top side for now. Meanwhile, for second, Adam Buzzio, Mason Houseman, they do battle.
This is what I was talking about, Andrew. If you've got that single car speed, you can really bring it back up to those guys who are drafting. And Houseman has closed that gap back up to Adam Buzzio. Now we've got a good fight for second, and if Houseman can make quick work, or if they decide they can really work with each other, we could have a fight up for the race lead here in a few laps.
On board with Adam Buzzio running second. He's going to get a push here from Mason Houseman. Hey, Houseman's smart. Mason's going to play this pretty intelligently, I feel like. And I think he's going to try and draft the 5 car. And I wouldn't be surprised if Buzzio fell back intentionally to the 78 to get a push. Say, hey, let's work together. Let's try and run that 75 car down. It's working already. They were 1.9 seconds back a lap ago. $12 to go. This time by down to 1.6 seconds back.
Think Johnny Wood Jr. has something to worry about now?
I do.
Well, he pulled a 10th on him down the straightaway. And, you know, thinking about lap times here with those two hooking up, Buzzio and Houseman are turning 39 ones, whereas Johnny Wood Jr. is turning 39 twos.
It's not much, but it's enough, I think. All they've got to do is get to about a half second back, and everything is up for grabs.
Well,
so here goes
Mason
Houseman. This is not smart.
They fight too much. That could prove to be a problem. Houseman all the way to the bottom. Is he going to get clear of the 5 at the line? Maybe just barely. Going into the corner. Get back hooked up, gentlemen. Because if you want to go up there and fight it, you got to stay hooked up. Do they take aspects of, you know, how you would run at Daytona and, you know, maybe do some Indian runs here? Get the run, get up in front, let the other guy follow in behind, get the run, get up in front, just keep piggybacking off, back and forth off of each other.
I think Mason feels like he's better on his own and is going to try and run Johnny Wood Jr. down as a single car, but I don't think he's got the pace to do it.
Well, he's pulling away. He's pulling away from Adam Buzzio.
Yeah, Buzzio's been running the bottom side, though, from the get-go when he came back out of the pit lane. He's going slower. I don't think Houseman's going to catch. Granted, he pulled a tenth or two there in 1 and 2. I don't know that he's going to get there. That is a tall order. But I do want to reassert that the driver of the day vote is live over on YouTube. So if you're watching on Facebook or Twitch, get over to YouTube quickly, pull up the stream, and vote for the North American Racing League driver of the day. Adam Buzzio currently leading the vote. Oh, and it just tied. Zachary King got a vote. It's that close right now. Scott Fritz is in the battle. Jason Bottom's still needing a vote. It's this close. So if you're watching this stream on YouTube, I know we're stuttery. It is what it is. We're going to re-upload, it sounds like. But if you're watching on YouTube, you can vote for Driver of the Day, brought to you by North American Racing League, and let your voice be heard. There's a solid battle for 4th. Isaiah Sutherland, Brendan Maddox, Dakota Camper, and Adam, sorry, not Adam, that's Stephen Borbell. Coulter Clark runs behind these guys. And Scott Fritz still runs 14th, although he is on his own now. Here goes Maddox on Sutherland.
The only thing that could save Fritz is a caution. I know you said,
oh, Camper in the wall.
Maybe we'll get it.
There's still time.
7 laps to go. Maddox and Sutherland beating off each other right there going into the corner. Max is going to come up. They're going to stay side by side. I sincerely thought he was going to get hooked there for a second.
Yeah, it's been close this last lap. Contact there to turn 3 between Maddox and Sutherland.
Camper's
Maddox
coming
pulls
back.
an advantage. Camper going to side with his teammate and roll on by. Where does Borbell go?
This is the closest battle on the racetrack right now. This is your fight to stay inside the top 5. Sutherland's got an advantage now, so Camper's just getting mired back, fighting with that 8-car Brendan Maddox. They slot in single file. Borbell's happy about that one, I'm sure. So he's going to have a car closer to him to suck up a little bit more in the draft. Now Camper, fighting with his teammate, going to cross him up off the corner, take a look to the inside line. They'll stay single file and snake down the front straightaway. Maddox coming back to that 3-car. It's 5 laps to go. 3 wide going into the corner. Sutherland gets clear.
Maddox way down to the bottom. Dove up underneath the 24 car, separates these two at the very least, gets into the wall.
The wall. He got tapped by Camper. They're going to make contact. They're not happy with each other.
Maddox, I think, not happy with the 3. Camper sends it up the inside. Contact there.
Oh.
Watch it here off the corner. Maddox lets it go.
I don't know. Still holding him down there on the front straightaway, not letting him come all the way back up. What's up? Oh, that could have been way worse than it was. Maddox now fully clear of the 3. Camper falls back to the clutches of Boorbell, and now they're a little bit more spread out.
And back up front as we come around to 3 laps to go, Mason Houseman has not run down that 75 car at all.
He gained some tenths, but he lost it while we were checking in with the fights a little bit further back down the running order.
All right,
3
Zachary
laps to
King
go.
and Adam Buzzio are still tied in the driver of the day vote. Zachary King and Adam Buzzio tied right now. You've got to make your vote on YouTube. Get on over there. Dakota Camper, Stephen Borbell going back at it as we ride on board with Mason Houseman. Let's check back in with that battle. Camper goes by the 2. Gonna try and chase the 8 car back down. 2 laps to go.
Camper up the racetrack. Maddox down to the bottom, trying to hold his ground. Here comes Camper with a run. They're running out of time if they're going to make something happen, though. Because rolling through 3 and 4, it's Johnny Wood Jr. 1.6 seconds out in front of Mason Houseman. He's going to roll through the restart zone. He sees the flag in hand. It's white flag in the air, presented by Whiplash Sim Cams. One more time around for Johnny Wood Jr. Regardless of what happens, this race will be official.
That's bad news for Scott Fritz, who still runs down in 14th. There's the 48 car. He runs 14th, 5 spots ahead of Richard Wolfsfer. He needs 7, actually 8, to get the spot in the points. Down into turns 3 and 4, here comes Johnny Wood Jr. He won earlier this season at Darlington, finally getting that monkey off his back. Went to victory lane, and he's going to repeat and do it again, winning his 2nd race of the season and his career at Michigan International Speedway. Car 75 to victory lane. Scott Fritz able to go no further forward. He will finish 14th.
And you want to know something
We've got a
special?
few more to the line. There's Zachary King, Eric Jensen, Dakota Bly, and Robert Moyer Jr. Wolfsfer will come to the stripe here. And Wolfsfer grabbed another spot. He passed Jason Bottoms there at the end. Problems for Bottoms.
Yeah,
I don't know if
they're
there was a
out of gas.
crash.
They're all out of gas.
I think so.
Johnny Wood Jr. just said he's out of gas. Adam Buzzio just said he's out of gas. Josh Anderson ran out of gas coming across the line. But it looks like he's got enough gas for a burnout, Andrew.
Just enough for a bit of a burnout here for Johnny Wood Jr. Still waiting on the 87 of Jason Bottoms to make it back to the stripe. He runs out of fuel this evening. And Johnny Wood Jr. is able to park it in victory lane. There we go. Finally, Jason Bottoms will cross the stripe. Richard Wolfsburg grabbed another spot. That makes it even more so his position in the chase. All while this guy is able to get another win on the season. You know, he changed paint schemes after that win at Darlington, went to this green renewal by Anderson, number 75. And green is usually a very bad color on a race car. Ask David Levine. There is a lot of bad superstitions around green on a race car.
And why would that be exactly?
It's just one of those superstitions. It's a bad luck color. But he shows here this evening that green looks okay on a race car here in victory lane. Oh boy. A race win for Johnny Wood Jr. Second on the season. It's a big one for Johnny Wood.
It's gonna look good.
This is when you want to get hot. This is when you want to go to victory lane. I talked about it earlier. This sets up for the end of the season. This sets up for the run through the chase. The 5 races coming up. They all start here. Wolfsburg going to push his teammate back to pit lane. And Wolfsburg should just stay in the chase. Just unbelievable scenes here at Michigan.
He's going to push him for a Polish victory lap. That's what I like to see. That's awesome. Are they going to slide on the banking, though?
They've got enough speed.
Think about. What is it? You need like 60 miles an hour, 35 or something, so you don't slide down the banking? That's at Talladega, though. Which is a race coming up that these guys are going to have to fight through in the chase. They've got a lot of great races that are going to be... I'm just going to say it right now, all 5 of those races are going to be certified bangers. They're going to be off the chart. You're going to a short track-esque intermediate style track, switching up to a road course, go to Talladega, and, you know, I'm going to state this for the record now, Andrew. If you can say Pocono has 5 turns, then I'm going to say Rockingham's a short track.
Rockingham's not a short track. Not going to let you get that one in.
Pocono doesn't have 5 turns.
That's a debate for another day. That's a debate for race 9 back on January 28th. But that'll do it for us this evening as far as on-track action. We'll talk with our drivers at the end of this one. Go back and get a look at it with Johnny Wood Jr. out front. And let's take a look through your unofficial race results first. Of course, Johnny Wood Jr. on top. Asen Houseman, Adam Buzzio, your top 3. Isaiah Sutherland and Brendan Maddox, 4th and 5th. Maddox a top 5. That's a big day for the 8 car. He's had a lot of bad luck as of late. Stephen Borbell, same deal. A lot of bad luck lately. Finishes 6th. Dakota Camper there in the 7th spot. Won recently at Daytona. Coulter Clark, a big top 10. Evan Patinko, Josh Anderson, big top 10s for those guys.
A lot of great top 10s throughout the field. Josh Anderson ran out of gas, actually, coming to the line. He would have had 9th, but lucked out a little bit there. Gray Walker ends up 11th when it's all said and done. Sam Dyer ends up 12th, and then Cody Dorsey in the 13th spot. Scott Fritz, got a feel for the man, you know, and you said it earlier on, Andrew, we weren't necessarily rooting for Scott Fritz. We weren't exactly rooting against one such driver. We were more so rooting for the fight that those two were going to have on that last playoff spot. Zachary King ends up 15th. Eric Jensen ends up 16th. Dakota Bly 17th on the night. And then Richard Wolsifer, like you said, Andrew, he ends up 18th when it's all said and done. He gets one spot at the end and gets by Jason Bottoms, who ends up 19th. And Jared Hughes rounds out your top 20 drivers.
Finishing 21st this evening at Michigan, you'll find Braxton Skinner 1 lap down. Robert Moyer Jr. 22nd. Matthew Selby 23rd, 17 laps down. Patrick Hernandez, an early exit here of 24th. Carl Pooler, 51 laps down and will miss the chase. He has had race-winning speed at times. Certainly chase contending speed. That is going to be a crime to see Carl Pooler not a part of the chase for the championship this season. Nicholas Renner 26th, Dustin Stallings 27th. He'll just barely stay in the chase, I believe. Zachary Maddox 28th, and Matthew Catania also just going to stay in the chase, 29th position when it's all said and done. Now that the results are over, we can announce the NARL Driver of the Day. That is going to belong to Adam Buzzio. We'll be talking to him third up on our list of post-race interviews. But Adam Buzzio is the NARL Driver of the Day today at Michigan International Speedway. And I think the lucky break of the day, lucky performance, lucky break of the day is going to belong to the 48 of Scott Fritz. I know it's not so lucky in the end, but to stay fighting, to stay in this race, missing those crashes, getting minimal damage at one point, I think that is my lucky performance, lucky break of the day. The unlucky break of the day would be that moment with Coulter Clark down the backstretch that put him in the wall. But that's for another day. First up, Johnny Wood Jr., race winner this evening at Michigan International Speedway. He wins the Duck Coat 250. And Johnny, this is a statement win. This is getting hot at the right time. This is everything you needed tonight and more. How does it feel to go to victory lane in this one?
Yeah, it was a pretty big shocker on that one. I mean, we done the practice race yesterday and I got obliterated under caution for something. And so I had no testing. And I always stayed in 5th all practice today, and I was like, I am slow. Something's wrong. And then I just started trying to downshift into 4th, entering each corner, and it just picked up like a 10th. And I'm like, oh, there we go. And then, got the pole with. Did I get the pole? No. Did I get?
Yeah, started first.
Yeah. So grabbed the pole, doing that situation there with the downshift, and then I was like, oh, if you could find the fastest way around the track, you need to work on your strategy. You just know where it's at. And we kind of lucked up in a way. I mean, stage 1, I blew through my pit stall and I had to get up and use the restroom. I figured, well, if I blew through my pit stall, I might as well use the bathroom because I had to go. And I started all the way in the back, and then we got into a lot of incidents, and I was almost just going to give up because, I was in every wreck, I felt like. And then I just wound up with some track position and took advantage of a 2-tire strategy, and it worked out. You kind of read the room and realize that everybody kind of settled down when it got separated, and I was like, I think we're going to stay green. Let me take 2, and that's what we did. It worked out.
And this chase for the championship, realistically, while yes, it's you against 11 other drivers, it's you most realistically against Mason Hausman and against Isaiah Sutherland. So how do you bring home this championship? How do you use this race to catapult you into this chase?
I mean, you never know what'll happen. I mean, I'm not going to give an inch. I'm going to go at it and try to win them all, but you never know what'll happen. You can finish, you could DQ the next 4 races if you get too worked up and too antsy, start pushing too much. So we're just going to kind of keep it smooth and assume we're going to finish 5th. And that seems to be where my luck kind of kicks in.
Well, it's a solid night for you here tonight. Led 40 laps and what was a back and forth kind of day, and it was mostly that run to the end where you got those laps led too. Just staying out front, clicking those laps off one by one. A solid pit strategy call. Congratulations. It was good to talk to you, and a solid race win here this evening.
Yep. Thank you.
Johnny Wood Jr. with the race win over Mason Hausman. I feel like Mason's going to want this one back, but what could he really have done, Zach? This was just one of those days.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much that you can do, but Mason did everything he could. You did what you had to do, man, to get yourself up there. You led some laps early on. Do you think maybe if there were some more laps at the end, you could have caught Johnny, or do you think that was all she wrote for you?
Personally, I was just trying to finish the race. I was more thinking about bigger picture, trying to finish the race with a regular season championship, and luckily I got that. I didn't realize how big of a points gap there was to it. But no, I think the strategy was right. I went in a little too late, I think. I was starting to get him back there, I think, within like the first 4 or 5 laps of me running it, and then we kind of just stalled out, and I was trying to save fuel, and then watching Adam behind me get closer, I was more worried about him. So I stopped really focusing on Johnny and started more focusing behind me. But I'll take a P2 tonight. It was well deserved. And so I'm glad that I didn't get wrecked.
Sure, anyone would be glad about that. You got caught up in one of the incidents early on, but you're able to push on and keep rolling. And that's one thing we actually didn't touch on, the regular season championship. So you're walking out of here now the regular season champion over Johnny Wood Jr. And that should help your chase for your championship rolling into these last 5 races. I mean, You're top seed, man. How does that feel going into those 5 races?
It feels pretty good. I got a little bit of a gap to Johnny. I know Johnny's going to do a hard charge here. He's super quick. I know Isaiah is going to be a hard charger. Both those drivers, they really want to win, and I am going to give them a good race for it. But I don't want to kill all of our championship hopes within one race. So it's going to be good to have a gap, but I can't look at that and be like, oh, I can go slack around now. I know those guys are going to be super quick and trying to get on my bootay, so I just gotta focus on next week and try to go and get a top 5 out of there.
Absolutely, gotta respect it. Big picture, man. Mason Houseman, second on the day. Congratulations, man. Looking forward to seeing how you're gonna run next week.
Yes, perfect. And I want to thank my team. I know Dustin and Zach had a rough night tonight. Dustin had a couple of issues with his computer, and then Zach got stuck in an earlier incident. But good job on Brandon. I think he finished top 5, if I'm not mistaken. I don't really remember where he finished. But it was a good team picture. We all worked together. Nobody really was too upset. I mean, in the moment they were. But I want to thank Rev. You know, he had a couple of tough calls tonight. He did great tonight, like he always does. And I want to thank you guys. You guys give us a product to put out there. And you guys help us out every time we race. So I appreciate you guys. And you guys are the best we could ever ask for.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations one more time on your race as a whole. Look forward to seeing you next week, man.
Yeah, thank you guys.
That's a very content Mason Houseman. I gotta respect it, looking at the big picture overall.
Absolutely, and we'll walk on down and grab 3rd place Adam Buzzio, who will go for today's driver of the day, and that's got to feel pretty good. You led a bunch of laps, you're out front a lot, battling for the race lead through about all of stage 2 and all of stage 3, but what could you have done differently there at the end, Adam, to get this race win? It felt like Chicagoland almost all over again. The opportunity was there. What could you have done differently to get that opportunity and get this race win?
Yeah, I was off on the strategy, man. I went in about 2 laps earlier than I should have. And I gave up some time on pit entry too. I forgot to practice pit entry. It wasn't a terrible pit entry, but I definitely gave up, a second or 2 there. If I didn't give that up, I would have came out ahead of Johnny by a good amount. But it wouldn't have mattered. I had to save fuel. I ran out crossing the line, even with saving. So it just, with having to save, I wasn't able to really race as hard as I needed to, and that's why Johnny got away from me there. Once the cycle ended. So. Pit strategy. I wanted to be first, not first, but I wanted to get in early. It just worked for. Now, you never know how things are gonna play out. I'm super happy about getting a podium. Little disappointed. Definitely think we could have won tonight. But hey, it was a blast though. I had a great time racing tonight, and I won something. I got driver of the day, so that counts for something, right?
Absolutely, and coming from 25th as well to do it, I'd say a statement on the day, and this is a race where a statement needs to be made going into the chase. So how do you ride this wave of momentum going into the chase and kick things off with a bang and try and get this championship away?
Yeah, I mean, we have a couple good tracks coming up. We've had some decent momentum the last couple weeks. We were kind of running 8th, 9th, 10th. A lot of the season with some stage points. Last couple weeks we've been back up here getting interviews on the podium and getting just overall better races put together. I love Gateway. It's one of my favorite tracks, and I really like Watkins Glen too. So maybe we could maximize there, and it's going to be hard. I know Mason's going to have a really big gap. He has lots of stage wins. Obviously, is going to max out on the chase points entering the first race. So it's going to be a tough gap to overcome, but we're just going to go out there and do our best, man. This race was a blast. Couple hiccups there in stage 1 with some incidents, but really good racing through stage 2 and stage 3. So really proud of all the guys. These tracks are tough when you're that close all race. Tempers get hot, cars get hotter. So just going to try to capitalize and do the best we can.
Well, best of luck to you in the chase this season. It's going to be a lot of fun watching you go after it with everybody else here in this chase field. And, well, you at least won something today, driver of the day. Best of luck to you. Hopefully you win something soon.
Yeah, real quick, guys. Just since it's the end of the regular season, I want to congratulate Mason. Obviously, class of the field all season and our regular season champ. So congrats to him. And going into the chase, just want to make sure I give a quick shout out to our sponsors: Buttkicker, Sundance Pizza, Sundance Trucks, and Ideal Lease. I want to thank my wife Julie for being awesome and dealing with me doing this. And thank you guys for such a great broadcast. Obviously, the broadcast product we have is great. So thank you guys for riding this wave with us and being here.
We certainly appreciate being here. That's Adam Buzzio, third place this evening. Congratulations on a solid run. And again, hopefully we're talking again soon.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Adam Buzzio, third place tonight, Zach. And certainly do want to give a big shout out to those who make it happen for us with the series, the Buttkicker, Ascendance Trucks, Ideal Lease, and Sundance Pizza, all being massive supporters of this series and allowing us to do what we do and go racing on a Tuesday night here every week, week in, week out. And of course, the partners here with Pit Stop TV, Whiplash SimCams, ATVO, CC's Business, Cody Williams Design, Lucky Performance, and the North American Racing League. Zach, we talk about this schedule, we talk about this chase, but here are the 5 races coming up. St. Louis, Watkins Glen, Talladega, Rockingham, Miami. There's nowhere to hide. It's a very, very difficult intermediate at St. Louis. Of course, that's Gateway, the 1.25-mile flat racetrack with a highly banked turns 1 and 2, a flat turns 3 and 4. Then Watkins Glen, the road course for 60 laps. It's going to be a long race at Watkins Glen, a very long race. The NASCAR Cup Series runs 90 laps there. 90. We're running 60. We're running 60. That's going to be a grueling race for these guys. We usually run about half-length races. That's 2/3 length, as you mentioned, Zach. So that's going to be a long race at Watkins Glen. Then Talladega is going to kick these guys in the rear end. I just know it. It'll be a little over 250 miles, so a little past half length there at Talladega. Then Rockingham's going to reach out and beat these guys up. And finally, Miami, going to be a little bit of a longer race as well. 200 laps there is going to be 300 miles. That's an Xfinity race, more or less, on April Fool's Day. This is going to be a grueling, grueling chase. Whoever comes out on top is going to deserve it.
Absolutely. And, thinking about the chase, thinking about the points, Andrew, shaking up is what we're doing now. We're tossing aside the regular season points, except for pretty much everyone below the cut line, and we're shaking it up. They base their championship chase off of NASCAR's old style chase format where, there's no elimination style, there's no, what's the word I'm looking for here? Well, pretty much there's just no elimination style, and then the wins are what give you those extra points. So, winningest driver on the season, which I believe is Mason Houseman, he's going to be the one that's going to be top seed, obviously. He's got the points advantage. He's going to walk in with a great deal of points over Johnny Wood Jr., who has 1 win. Then you've got Sutherland and Stallings would more than likely be the 2nd and 3rd seeds. Then it would be Johnny Wood Jr., Dakota Camper. You see Zachary King, he's below the cut line. He has a win. But like we said, this is not NASCAR's new style format where the wins lock you in. You got to be consistent. You got to have those points. And those 12 that you see on the left side of your screen are 12 chasing a championship.
We'll see how things shake out and how things start the chase next week at St. Louis. That does it, though, here from Michigan International Speedway. A look at what's upcoming for us here at Pit Stop TV. Next up, we go to Talladega Super Speedway for the Sim Rap Market Series. That's tomorrow night to cap off what has been, not cap off anything, actually. What am I talking about? To continue the playoffs in the Sim Rap Market Series into a wild card kind of race. It's the 3rd race of their 6-race playoff. You've got to check in for this one. Talladega's always fun. Doesn't matter what car, but always at that racetrack, we have a good time. Then Thursday, it's the Caffeine and Octane Lanier Raceway down in Braselton, Georgia, right across the street from Road Atlanta. for the Pierce Fleet Service Super Series and the Sarah Super Series, the Sim-Auto Racing Association. That's the series finale. Cole Cavery has already clinched the championship, so it's going to be an all-out duel for who can get to the finish line first and win the final race of the season before we go racing at Gateway on March 4th. Make sure to tune in for all these broadcasts and more coming up on all of our social media platforms.
PitStopTV.com, Facebook.com/PitStopTV, Instagram.com/Pit_Stop_TV, Twitch.tv/Pit_Stop_TV, YouTube.com/PitStopTV1, and X.com/PitStopTV_. I know Cole Cavery has already locked up that championship in the Sarah Super Series, but I love Lanier. I love that track, Andrew, and I feel like that's going to be a really great race to tune into. But we've always got great races here on PitStop TV.
Yeah, a lot of really cool races coming up. We got a series starting up soon on Thursdays, right after the conclusion of the Sarah Super Series. The North American Racing League is making their return. They're going to VIR, Portugal, Homestead, and some other great racetracks. Le Mans is in there. Going to be a very fun series coming up on Thursday nights. Mason Houseman should be joining me on commentary for those, so he could be winning a championship and then joining us for commentary all at the same time before he ships out to boot camp for the Air Force. I mean, just great things coming up here at Pit Stop TV. A lot of really cool things happening this spring. You've got to tune in for each one of these broadcasts coming up soon. But Zach, any final words before we depart from Michigan?
Ready for the chase. I'm ready for it. Absolutely action-packed racing coming up. It's going to be fun. It's going to be amazing.
Well, make sure to tune in next week for the Gateway race coming up soon. St. Louis, going to be a lot of fun. The first race of the chase here in the BRB Racing League. But of course, make sure to tune in tomorrow night for the SimRap Market Series. That'll do it for us here at Michigan International Speedway. Thanks so much for tuning in. We will see you all next time here at Pit Stop TV. It's been fun, but we'll catch you on the flip side.